everybody, to another Straight Talk Commerce podcast. I'm here with Wayne Altman and our host Ian Slade as we rapidly move up to at the end of the second quarter for 2024, fellas. The summer solstice, I think, was today, yesterday, something. It's
Today,
been
yeah.
hot.
It's
But
officially summer now.
how do we make our e-commerce sites hot? That's what I want to know. Ian?
Ask Wayne to take his shirt off.
Well, I have an announcement to make.
So,
Speaking of that, last week I promised to go to LinkedIn and find out whether or not they are still relevant for David, and I did contact LinkedIn, and they assure me they are still relevant. So my apologies to David Layton and to LinkedIn. My bad. We're going to give them another year or so, and then we'll declare them dead.
Well, look, I'll tell you, back when I was a youngster, we had something called the Rolodex.
that's right.
That was a card. We'd have somebody's name, phone number, maybe their fax number.
There you go.
Um,
Beeper.
right? Then eventually their beeper. I still have, my email. One of my emails is Dave's pager at, I don't want to get blown up. It just forwards to me as a text message. But now with LinkedIn and some of the things you can do, they added 150 features last year alone. This year they're adding this year I'm not sure how many they've added, but I am going to look that up because starting in July, I am launching both, for the Odyssey community and for Witty, how to nurture and build your meaningful network with LinkedIn and Odyssey and Witty and build those communities, right? Because, different parts of the world are catching on. We're in California, we're way ahead of it. I got on LinkedIn in 2003. And I'm
Wow.
like, there's no way anyone's going to put all their information. I had to usually call companies, figure out how to get the names of their employees or building their software, because that's what I was doing at the time, that I still do. I'm like, no one's putting all their info on LinkedIn. That would
Even
kill my
still,
business.
even still, your love of LinkedIn is admirable. I mean, because of all of those things that you're saying, I'd never really found that. Maybe I need to do a deep dive on LinkedIn. Maybe it's time for me to do that again.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll show you. Look, and it is about like how right now we're in the age of information overload, right? We're getting hammered by different social sites,
Right.
emails, this, that. So now more than ever, it's just important to like manage that stuff. Some of my, right, my community and my connections, I started in the 80s in my business. How do I, the people that I first connected with on 2003, how do I kind of be there, be top of mind, make sure I'm supporting them, they can support me, right? I mean, we're about to have our third Odyssey session tomorrow. That's the men's group now that we started with in Witty. That's exciting. And man, people have come through or hit me up that I haven't talked to in decades.
Right. Well, it actually is good for that. We need to find speakers. We need to find interesting people, and maybe even membership. I can see where you would find a use for that. All right, look, Ian, we're going to have to get Dave off of LinkedIn, or it's never going to end. And so, what is our topic
All
today?
right.
Give us a topic today. Let's talk about this.
All right, let's get going. So, for today, folks, we will talk about the top 10 things to consider when starting a business.
Oh, excellent.
So, yep. And I was going through this earlier today, and even though I've been in business for decade and a half, these things still ring true and they're evergreen. So I'm really excited to dive into this. And folks, if you're just tuning in, what we're trying to do here is really get to the nuts and bolts of what you need to do. This isn't just about the theories. This isn't just about sound bites. This truly is, if you follow these steps that we've done ourselves, this will really help you get to where you want to go. And for today, we're talking about the things that you need to consider. And the first thing here is self-assessment. So, Wayne, uh, under self-assessment, you need to know what are you passionate about? What are you truly interested in?
Yep.
What is it that you do without someone else paying you, right? Because if you don't have that passion or interest, at the first struggle, the first hurdle, you're out. You're throwing in that white towel. So what was that for you, Wayne? How did you use passion, interest to get into Melody Clouds?
So it would with Melody Cloud specifically, I have tinnitus, ringing in
Yep,
my ear.
yep, yep.
And I kind of backed into Melody Clouds, to be honest, because I had a buddy of mine who knew that I suffered from that. And because he did as well, we talked about it a million times before. And he and I sat down for some drinks and he said, "Hey, I want to play you some music." And I was like, okay, expecting it was going to be country or it was going to be,
Taylor
old
Swift.
school, whatever. Okay. He plays me this crunchy freaking music. And I look, man, anyone that knows me, I am not a hippie. And I listened to the first track and I'm like, what is this supposed to do beside piss me off? And so he goes, never mind. And he takes that one. He goes, try this one. And he gives me another one. And it was less crunchy, but it really didn't do anything. It was that third track of music, Ian. He played for me a track of music that actually took away the whooshing and the whining sound that was in my ear always, even right now. If I'm not listening to a binaural beat, I'm listening to that sound. So listen, within 24 hours, 48 hours, within 48 hours, I had the Melody Cloud domain. I had a website that was going up. I had started collecting all of it. Okay. So it was very, very, very quick for me.
Wow.
I have a survival store. The survival store, survival is a major, I was a Boy Scout. It is a major passion for me. Being able to be dropped off somewhere. Did you ever see the show Survivor Man?
Yeah. Or what was that?
Les Stroud,
Naked and Alone or something?
similar
Yeah.
show that everybody got on the old survival
Great.
bandwagon with Bear Grylls going out in the woods. So look, I'm one of those guys. I like the fact knowing that I could be dropped off somewhere, right, with no electronics, no nothing, and I'd actually be able to survive. So that is a very important thing. Having a passion, having an interest, and not being tied down to a business that you are not passionate about and you have no interest whatsoever in doing. Lots and lots of us graduated from college and went to industries that we knew nothing about, and we would not have made that choice had we known about it. So it's extraordinarily important for you to find something that you're passionate and have an interest in that you can do and make money with.
Absolutely. David, for you, 1989, I'm not talking about the Taylor Swift album. I'm talking about the beginnings of Witty. What got you into Witty and now in its evolution? There are so many things that you're passionate about. How do you sustain it? It's amazing. I mean, I think if you look at all the businesses that started in 1989 that are still around today, probably fit into one hand. So it's amazing what you've been able to accomplish.
In today's competitive job market, simply applying for roles isn't enough. Let me show you a smarter approach. Hi, I'm David Leeton with over 30 years of executive search expertise. Together, we'll unlock hidden opportunities. By leveraging the Witty network and LinkedIn, we'll target companies on the rise where your skills truly shine. Let's explore unadvertised roles in growth-focused companies, aligning your aspirations with thriving organizations. Together, we'll craft a personalized strategy to connect you with the career opportunities you deserve. Experience a tailored approach that goes beyond traditional job hunting, paving the way for your professional success. Join me on this journey to unlock your full potential and secure a fulfilling role in a company you admire. Let's navigate the job market together, leveraging my expertise to guide you towards your dream career path. It's time to step into a future where your professional journey is defined by purpose and passion. Let's make it happen. Discover a new way to approach job hunting, tailored to your unique strengths and ambitions. Your success story starts now. When you are ready, contact us at witty.com.
You know, and it was really 1986.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so I can't make that.
And before then, I'd been selling clothes. You know, I sold clothes at the Broadway, a high-end clothing store in LA. And at the Broadway, I was dealing with a customer that was having some issue, and you know, dealt with them and made them walk away happy. So a guy came over to me. He's like, "Wow, you know, that was great. I'd love to talk to you about managing my front door store." And he made, you know, manufactured front doors for the construction industry. And it was in downtown LA. I lived in the San Fernando Valley. And I'm like, good. And then it turned out that one of my best friends I grew up with, this guy and my friend's dad were old friends. So it was a no-brainer. I was going to have the job. And, you know, at the same time, my mom got a contract. She had a small business. And she's like, "Look, that's great. I just got this big contract from Hughes. I need someone to work. You won't have to commute. You can just work out of your house." I'm like, "Fine, I'll try it." You know, at that time we were doing research for tech companies to help them identify people with core competencies in different areas of technology.
Right.
You know, and I was, you know, it was all about creativity. There was no web back then. Like I said, that's how I'd call in, figure out how to, you know, get magazine subscriptions of people, how to call into companies, break the voicemail systems, figure out who the engineers were, do patent searches. You know, and that was good for a few years. And then I started getting into the placement business because some of the people I found were highly marketable.
Right.
Still working at the Broadway and on the weekends and doing this. Man, I did my first placement, got check for $14,000.
Nice. Nice.
I'm like, adios retail store. I was at work at 5 a.m. the next morning. And from there, you know, my mom had the idea for Witty. I'm like, great, help her. You know, we kind of I took over the other company and we funded that.
Mm-hmm.
There are jobs out there. I had no idea you could make that much money from you know, finding a
Amazing.
person for a
Yep.
company. I did placements where I got over 100,000 for one person, right?
Jesus.
So, you know, listen, there's jobs out there. When you can really find what you're passionate about, look around, right? Some of the jobs, like Wayne, you didn't no idea Melody Clouds until you saw the solution for you, right? So I'd say be curious, ask questions. You knew it solved your problem. How
Mhm.
many other people out there are dying for it? So that's great. So yeah, get in action and find something you enjoy and are good at, you know?
So, along the lines of self-assessment, skills and strengths. Now, this is something that I struggle with, especially with the younger generation, because they think that if you tell someone, you know what, your voice sucks, or your drawing isn't that good, or you're not really good at this, you're not fast enough, you're not strong enough, you're not this, you're not that. They sometimes take it as an insult, you're putting them down. So what I've noticed, mostly for the younger generation, they actually don't know what they're good at because they're not getting honest feedback. So Wayne, how do you differentiate what you're passionate about and what you're actually good at? Right? Like I love belting out Journey while taking a shower, but I will not sign up for what is it? America's Got Talent. I know I'm not good at it,
Right. Yeah.
but I
You
like
will
to
never
do
see me on America's Idol either. Okay. That is one thing that you and I share. I can't sing, couldn't carry a tune in a bucket.
Right.
But I think as you get older, look, the reason that they don't know what they're good at and because they're not good at anything yet. You know, younger
Mm,
people haven't had the time to get really good at something.
right,
They say 10,000 swings with a golf club before
right, right,
you're,
right,
you know, a professional level.
right.
10,000 free throws. 10,000 is the magic number for a lot of these things. And so 10,000 free throws, you know, or you're Shaq, you know, and you're not very good at free throws. So look, skills and strengths are acquired. Okay? You may have limited talent at certain things,
Right.
but they are acquired over a long, long, arduous period of time. And that's why it's on this list, is because you need to know what you've done. For me, cooking. Okay. I'm went to cooking school for a couple years. It was a passion. It was a I was very passionate about cooking school. But one of the things I did not like was fat people sweating in my food. And the chefs in that kitchen really like to do that a lot. So it it tore down some of the Ian, it took down some of the passion from me, and it really kind of, you know, turned me off of that profession. So what did I do? I went in the army, the United States military, okay? And they showed me, hey, here's where your skills lie. Here's where your passions are. And it was a very good learning, a place for learning. I got paid to do it. I traveled to 19 countries. I got paid to you know, be a soldier. Okay. And I loved it. I really, that was another thing that I was passionate about. And then we scaled the military, and I had to go find something else to do. But you have not had, if you're 18, 19, 20 years old, chances are you have not had time to develop any skills. That's why you don't know what you're good at. You do know where your talents are. You knew, if you can sing, then you know that you can sing by that age. If you can play an instrument, you know that you play an instrument pretty well by that age. So it becomes very self-evident. The short answer to the question, it becomes very very self-evident very quickly around 18, 19, and 20 years old, where your skills and strengths are going to be.
Awesome. That's a really good point. That putting in the time, 10,000 hours, is definitely crucial in getting good at whatever talents that you came with, right? Factory installed talents. Now, the third one is values and goals. David, I want to go back to you because Witty is nothing if not a value-based organization. And so for Witty, what is the impact that you want your business to have? What's the legacy?
Well, look, I was still back on the question that Wayne was answering because I think that was good, right? And one thing, I'm on the board of Dr. Eads' company, who you both know, and
Yep.
Meet Yourself, right? And his whole thing is, you know, as we were young, oh, you're not as good at, you know, you're better at math, you're not as good at English. Focus on English to get better, right? Dr. Eads' thing, you know, and they have the self-assess, the way you can assess your skills and what you're good at. What if we knew what we were good at early and just did that? Then what mountains can we get to rather than focusing on the things that we're not as good at, spending time to be mediocre at everything rather than putting in that 10,000 hours. So I do like that. But look, I think I understanding what you're passionate about, what you believe in is critical, right? Because then you can get those juices flowing. And you can identify really your core passion and values and write that down on a post-it and put it on your bathroom mirror and look at it every morning and say it,
Affirmations.
right? Mantras, affirmations, people call it different things, but it's really just putting that energy out. And as you can identify that, then you can get up, jump out of bed in the morning rather than, oh, I got to go to work now, right? We've all been there. I know that.
Well,
Right.
I know a ton of accountants that are very good at accounting, and they hate it. It is not in their, they are bored. Just because they're good with numbers does not mean that that's where their passion was. So you make a very good point. And as far as values and your goals, look, if you want to live a nice life, there are a lot of very highly skilled, high paying jobs that are out there. Some people's values, however, are skewed differently. They do not think that they need a whole lot of money in order to live a happy life. So you need to take those things into consideration. If you are a school teacher and your passion is to teach kids in elementary through 12th grade, then guess what? You're probably going to forego a lot of vacations and a lot of really nice things because they do not pay teachers very well. So you got to make a decision. Are you going to be passionate and follow your passions and what you love to do? Or are you going to need to make adjustments on that and then go for the things because your values are different than what your pocketbook would have you realize?
Really good point. So I think of it as when you're starting a business, the Venn diagram, right? So one circle, we've been talking about self-assessment. These are the things that talks about what you're passionate about, what you're good at, what you value, right? So that's one circle. Now we're jumping into the next circle, which is the market, right? Doing market research. What's going on in the market? What are the trends? What are the demands? Who's in it? Who's your competition? So understanding what's going on in the market. I'll start with you, Wayne. So when you decided to start Melody Clouds, what was going on in the market?
Well, look, to be honest with you, it was more of a passion project. I didn't really know how well. I knew that I could start this business for a little bit of money and we could see where I could take it. I knew that Calm and some of the other apps that were available and were out there,
Headspace, yep,
they charged a lot of money for basically the same thing that I could provide people for a very little money.
right.
And I was going for scale. I needed 100,000 subscribers as opposed to trying to, make $50 for every single subscriber that was out there. So that's the way that I attacked it. And the trend was to charge as much as you could get. And it seems like that's really where the trend is. Everybody wants to maximize and absolutely just gouge as much as you possibly can from each individual person. Me personally, I have a different philosophy on that. I charge what it's worth. And then I let my customers find me as much as I go out and look for them. So charge what your product is worth. That's my advice.
Very good advice. David, for Witty, um, I know that there's a lot that's being offered. There's something new coming in all the time. We're talking about micro certifications. How do you, well, first of all, do you have any direct competitors in the marketplace? It seems like you have your own lane.
Look, there's different communities people can join out there. With Witty, I think one thing that's unique with Witty, we call it the soul of Witty, right? So while we have our ag tech community, we have our agile community, AI, Odyssey, but people are brought in through the core values of what we're all committed to, right? So get there faster and smarter. Everybody's there to help each other win and get to the next level. Collaboration instead of competition. No one stands alone, right? All of these are part of our core values. So we want people to come in and help elevate them. One rule we have is no discussion of politics or religion, and to respect that, right? There are some divisive topics. Many of us, may have different experiences, lived experiences, whatever's going on. Let them do that. We want this to be a safe space to come to focus on getting better, contributing to everybody to elevate the conversation. So with that, I'd say, do we have any specific competition? We have many, many partners. We have some communities that aren't the right for us. We've recommended several people that had been part of Witty, maybe go to those other communities because they're not in alignment with what we do, right? and good for them. So, yeah, look, I think, and especially all the things we're doing together now with the three of us, right, running different communities within Witty, and just the power of everybody elevating. And with AI in the gas tank to fuel things, it's going to be an exciting second half of 2024 and beyond for sure.
Awesome. Well, the next one is something that I truly love. And this is something that I personally start out with every time someone asks me, which I was at the HEAL conference, and a lot of people came to me after our panel discussion, like, hey, I want to get into healthcare. I'm on the tech side. I know machine learning and AI. What can I do? And I always start off with, what is the problem that you're trying to solve? What are the pain points that either your potential customers have verbalized or pain points that you're experiencing? Going back to you, Wayne, with your tinnitus. And also, what is your unique value proposition? Going back to our hamburger discussion, what twist are you adding to your hamburger that differentiates it from the 271 hamburgers within 10 miles of your area? So, problem to solve, Wayne. We can continue on with Melody Clouds, or also if you want, I believe the real estate. I remember you talked about how you had to train your team members because they were struggling in terms of figuring out which clients to move forward with, and
Sure.
which to decline. So I'd love to hear more about that.
Well, there is a lot that goes into this. When you're talking about pain point, maybe it's something that's just irritating to you, right? Maybe your hands are freezing and you wish that there were some cloth things that you could put over your hands and remove them so your hands would stay warmer, right? Okay, so when you're looking into that, you extrapolate how many other people must be going through the same issue. I'm hungry. Anybody hungry? I mean, we do that in our daily lives, right? We do that all the time. So, and that's more product based, and sometimes it's more problem solving, for other people. Let me give you an example of that. Okay. So
Training with Radio Hall of Famer Gary Meyer on podcasting, public speaking, and radio announcing offers numerous benefits that can significantly enhance your skills and career prospects. Gary's extensive professional experience provides a wealth of knowledge and practical insights, particularly in engaging and retaining an audience. For podcasting, this includes mastering the tone of voice, pacing, and the strategic use of humor and emotion to create a strong personal connection with listeners. In public speaking, Gary emphasizes authenticity, clarity, and confidence, teaching techniques such as effective body language, eye contact, and vocal modulation to ensure your message resonates deeply. His insights into audience psychology help you read and respond to real-time reactions, making your speeches impactful and memorable. For radio announcing, Gary's training focuses on developing a rich, expressive vocal presence that conveys personality and warmth, essential for creating a vivid mental picture for listeners. This includes technical aspects like voice modulation, pitch control, and timing, along with practical advice on script preparation and handling live broadcasts. Gary's training includes real-world simulations, providing hands-on experience and personalized feedback to refine your skills. Additionally, networking opportunities with industry professionals and fellow trainees can open doors to new possibilities and collaborations. Gary's comprehensive programs cover content creation, audience analysis, narrative construction, and retention strategies, ensuring a thorough understanding of all aspects of these fields. He also emphasizes personal growth, building self-confidence and resilience, and offers insights into the business side, including monetization and branding strategies. Gary Meyer's training equips you with the tools, confidence, and connections needed to excel in podcasting, public speaking, and radio announcing. Contact Gary on LinkedIn today to get started.
So my wife and I, we just moved with our youngest daughter. We just moved, and we moved into a community where I decided I would think, okay, I have a problem. I need to have my TV installed on the wall. I need to have it put up on the wall. Is there anybody in this place that does that? Well, no, there's not. But there's hundreds of families that live around me, and it'd probably be a good idea that for me to find out how many others need this service. that would be a great job for somebody who has just even the basic carpentry skills to be able to measure and be able to mount a TV mount on the wall and put someone's TV up for them, because it is something that needs to be done in every time you move somewhere, right? Unless you're going to set it someplace, but who wants that? I mean, everybody wants their TVs on the wall. What I'm saying is that's one example of maybe it's alterations. I mean, if where I live, there are no places to get clothes altered anymore. But we barely have a dry cleaner. Okay. It's the area that I live in is incredibly disposable. So bringing back those skills and bringing back those abilities seems like a very viable business to me right now, because I don't know too many people that like throwing away shoes when they need a new sole.
Absolutely. Speaking of shoes, that's one of the things that is really hard to come by. Like I love to resole my shoes because you know it's formed to your feet. You can use it for years and years, but you look around, not a lot of people. You know, when the dad who started the business, you know, wants to retire, none of the kids want to continue. So it truly is going to be a problem. How about you, David? When you're talking to people, I just sent someone to you, I think yesterday, that's wanting to connected you on LinkedIn, wanted to look at, you know, what other options are out there. Um, what do you look at when you know people are trying to try something new and trying to solve problems? What advice do you give folks?
Well, look, I think, a couple things. First of all, as far as some of the examples earlier on businesses, after our last episode, or maybe it's 2 episodes, we talked about, oh, what are the top businesses that are safest? One of them was laundromats, right? I had a friend from high school call me up. Hey, he's looking at law. He was in Switzerland traveling. There were or Sweden, I think it was Sweden. There were no laundromats there. People were like, hey, it's like, okay, this
What?
opportunity, right? I said, yeah, but let's look at it. Why aren't there? Definitely, you can find gaps in the market, but sometimes they're not there for a reason. Many of them didn't shut down because they were making too much money, right? So, and again, it's not all about money, it's having passion, other segments in the marketplace, right? Like we saw ghost kitchens that really took off during COVID. And for those of you that don't know, a ghost kitchen, as we have these delivery services, DoorDash, some of these others, they were going into, maybe like an Applebee's or a Denny's that weren't getting, traffic maybe at certain times, and just using half of the kitchen to then serve menus from other restaurants, right? And during the pandemic, if it's just a delivery, you didn't necessarily need uh front door on the street. Who would have thought of that, right? So I
Wow.
think, one important thing is like, let's clear our mind, right? We're in June 2024. We just came out of a pandemic. What happened during the pandemic? People were able to work remotely, hybrid working, this and that. Um, different business models, right? People used to work 9 to 5. Now they're kind of working anywhere. We have these communication tools we never had before. So I think one of the most important thing is like, let's create, right? Uber. That's a technology company,
Mhm.
right? Amazon started as a bookstore.
Absolutely.
eBay, Pez selling Pez dispensers, right? Tech savvy. I hear so many people, oh, I'm not in technology, I do this.
Mhm.
I saw one message today, oh, I'm not in technology, I'm an entrepreneur. If you're an entrepreneur and not leveraging technology, I wish you the best of luck. Right? So I think it's just what we say and opening our minds up. And I think yeah, that's been, some of the things I've been going through. Like, how do I just really create from nothing?
Right.
Think about, oh, this is what is, or this is what happened, or I can only do X.
Right.
I mean, our last Odyssey session, what did we have? People from 8 different countries? Ireland, Lebanon, South Africa, Canada. That's a different country, right? No, right? So, you know, where would we've been able to do that before?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Speaking of doing new things, let's jump into the next topic, which is business models, right? I think talking about starting something new, reimagining how you can get different revenue streams, reimagining cost structures, and also thinking about, okay, now that you've started your business, is this something you can scale, right? So, Wayne, you're the master at e-commerce. What are some of the different revenue streams that people should start thinking about if they want to start their business?
Well, selling products is not the only way that you can make money, and people need to really think about that. Dave gave the example of Odyssey. I'll use the example of Odyssey. Rather than charge our members a membership fee, one of the things that we've been discussing is our breakout groups turn into podcasts. Those podcasts go on and they monetize. Um, Another thing is merchandise. A lot of the creators on YouTube are selling merchandise, right? Everybody's got their own merch and people buy that merch and they buy it at a very fair price and it makes a lot of money for people. Even Mr. Beast has picked up on that. Mr. Beast is a YouTube creator and he has a chocolate line and a food line, hamburgers and chicken fingers. I mean, this kid, he's everywhere. Okay. Huge hero of mine, by the way. Shout out to Mr. Beast.
Wait, let me pause you there because I was on Roku, the Mr. Beast TV network. Oh
Yes.
my God. And I got sucked right into.
Yeah. He's a genius.
Sorry.
Look, I have to, look, not very often do I find someone much younger than me that I am absolutely fascinated by. This kid has either some very, very smart people around him or he is an absolute genius when it comes to and I'm learning at his knee right now. So, me being the master, I don't think so. I'm definitely learning things from him. But
But
look,
and he didn't, sorry to cut you off. I'm sure
no,
he didn't say, oh, I can do this. He's like, F it.
He's
I don't
trying
know.
new things. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
right.
coming just to go ahead and do it. Right.
Yeah, he's one of the very few people, Dave. You know that I say this all the time. I don't say no very often. I damn sure don't hear it.
Yeah.
So I am very inclusive. Yes, bring this to me. Yes, bring that to me. Right. And I think that's how he is as well, because he's into way too many things for him to be saying no a lot. Now, does he say no? Probably he says no, but I'm just from the outside looking in, realizing that your revenue stream does not have to only come from the exact product going in and out of your store, your storefront, your e-commerce, your drop shipping, whatever. And by the way, more millionaires were made during the pandemic than in the 10 years prior to the pandemic. Okay. So let's just be clear. It really helps when you can seize opportunities when they come up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And part of that is cost structure, making sure that as much as possible you keep your costs low. And one of the things that I emphasize a lot to my students is the difference between fixed and variable cost. Fixed costs are the costs that, regardless if you have one customer or 100, remains the same, i.e., keeping the lights on. For the most part, that cost is the same. The rent is the same. Variable cost is what goes up or down depending on volume, right? So as things go up, your variable costs go up. So just understanding, for example, if you want to start a t-shirt company, right? So as the number of order of shirts go up, the cost of, well, buying the t-shirts will also go up. So just understanding the cost structure of your business is really important. Wayne, you have your own e-commerce store, and you understand this quite intimately. What are some of the lessons learned that you've had if you can dial back time and go back to the first year or so of that business?
So there's two different things at play here. You are right. There's many different things at play here, and you're right to point that out. So some of your cost structure is built upon how much of something you have. So if you deal in rare coins, the fact that they're rare determines that the price is going to go up or go down depending on how many of those are on the market at the time.
Right.
The art world is definitely something that the cost structure, you pay attention to quite a bit, because a $44 million painting is not going to be something that you're going to come across very often. Okay. Now, if you're selling little widgets like a fidget spinner, or if you're going to sell tennis shoes or something like that, things that you can make in the millions, then and flood the market with them, then your cost structure goes down. And you are the more you're able to sell, the lower the price, generally speaking, the lower the price you're going to be able to sell it for and still maintain your profit margin. Still, you're selling now at a volume rather than a scarcity. If let's say you're selling computers, okay? Now you can mass produce computers and you can sell them very cheaply, but I'm on a Zydex computer right now. Shout out to Zydex. They make great computers and they make them individually for the person. So that computer is much more. However, it's the last computer you will ever buy. Because if something goes wrong on this computer, I send it back to them. They fix whatever is wrong and they send it back to me. It's the best decision I have ever made. And again, we're not sponsored by Zydex yet, but I would just tell you, if you're in the market for a computer, that is a great company, and their cost model, the way they do things is a little bit different than, say, HP or Dell.
Right. Awesome. Here's a question that I think is in my mind a little controversial, and that's the question of scalability. I personally don't think that you need to scale. For example, I know of restaurants that have been around for decades, probably 10 tables. That's it. And there's a line wrap around the building. They're making good profits. They enjoy what they do. And I've seen restaurants like this, they try to scale. And what happens is the quality gets watered down, quite literally sometimes. And that is the start of their downfall. So, um, David, scalability. Should every entrepreneur who's starting out in business think of scaling, or should they focus on getting things right? And then, if scalability is good for your business, think about it. Or what do you think? Like a lot of guys on YouTube, they're like, okay, as you're starting your first business, always have in mind, how does it look like when you have 100 stores? And I don't know. I think that that is more noise to me than signal. What are your thoughts?
I think there's scaling and there's hyperscaling, right?
Mm,
I saw the little, the small delicatessen,
right.
where the soprano people used to have coffee in front of it. Were there shady things going on to also, enhance the revenue? Maybe, right? So I get it. There's certainly some, one of my favorite restaurants in New York we used to go to, Il Molino. They'd never, they would never have thought, the two owners of even opening a second one, because it was impossible. Everything was too quality. But they were then able to bring one into Vegas and Miami. And now I think there's 6 or 7 around the world.
Wow.
Gonna scale and grow, get it right at the core first. I think a lot of companies, look at WeWork, right? God, how did they get that wrong? Because now I would think WeWork should be everywhere. I know they had issues, their valuation went down billions.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so look, I think it's easy, I was thinking last, the optimistic entrepreneur can be, a disease. So I think it's, always, check in once a month with yourself, with your trusted colleagues. Am I crazy? What can I be doing better? Get the feedback, tighten it up, but believe in yourself, right? You don't want to just say, oh, somebody's there, somebody says this, I'm going to shift directions. But if you can get the trusted advisors, that's huge.
In
Yeah.
today's rapidly evolving healthcare landscape, effective project management is more crucial than ever. Many organizations struggle with achieving their goals due to inefficiencies and lack of direction. Tony Robbins' RPM framework can transform this approach. The RPM framework provides a roadmap for success. You'll soon see how applying these principles can revolutionize healthcare project management and lead to better outcomes for everyone involved. Let's take a deeper dive into applying the RPM framework to healthcare project management. It all begins with defining your outcomes. Think improved patient care, operational efficiency, and data accuracy. These goals set the stage for transformation. Next, understand your why. This is where you align your efforts with greater purposes like patient-centered care, innovation, and sustainability. A clear why gives you direction and purpose. Now, create your roadmap. Engage stakeholders early and often. Conduct readiness assessments to gauge where you are and what you need. Develop comprehensive training programs to bring everyone up to speed. Set concrete milestones and metrics so you can measure progress along the way. And don't forget, communication is key. Regular updates keep everyone aligned and motivated. Lastly, focus on the 20% of actions that will yield 80% of the results. This principle keeps you efficient and effective, concentrating efforts where they matter most. By following these steps, you harness the power of the RPM framework to reimagine project management in healthcare. This approach transforms outcomes and drives innovation in real-world examples. By applying the RPM framework, healthcare organizations can achieve transformative results. Imagine enhanced patient care, streamlined operations, and accurate data management. These are not just possibilities, but tangible outcomes. Real-life examples showcase the remarkable successes already achieved. Increased efficiency in patient care and precise data management demonstrates the framework's profound impact. Now it's your turn to start the transformation. If you seek guidance or assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. Your journey to better healthcare project management begins now. Join Healthcare Project Management Association, or HPMA, today. Your first step in this adventure is contacting Ian Slade at ian@itconsultinggroup.com. He can guide your path from there.
Yeah, and
Jump
speaking
in
of
here real
rework-
quick.
Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead.
I have I want to go this from the other direction. Okay,
Sure.
there's a band called the Wu-Tang Clan. I'm sure you guys have heard of them. And the Wu-Tang Clan made an album and then sold that album to one person. Do you remember that? Martin Scarelli. Martin Scarelli he went to prison, but he bought the Wu-Tang album. The Wu-Tang Clan's album. He bought that album. He's the only person on the planet that's ever heard the album through and through. And he's now going to sell listening, or supposedly going to sell the ability to listen for about $100. You can listen to the album that he bought many years ago. And the Wu-Tang Clan was asked, hey, why did you do that? You stood to make a lot of money from this album.
Yeah.
And one of the members of this said, did we stand to make millions from the album? Because we felt like a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. This guy came to us with a huge amount of money, and we knew, okay, we'll be happy with that amount of money. And by the way, we won't have to a lot of the things that normally we'd have to do, meaning they couldn't go out and play the songs on that album. They couldn't go on tour to do that album because he's the only one that could listen to this, right? So this is scalability. Sometimes it's better not to scale your business. Rarely it is better not to scale your business. Picasso, Rembrandt, these painters knew, hey, I need to make one of these paintings.
Right.
right? Now, Farrah Fawcett, she had, and I'm sure you guys remember this, you're old enough. She had a
Charlie's Angels.
poster. Every single male in the world at a certain age owned the poster. You wanted to make a lot of those posters.
1978, Charlie's Angels.
And that is how you scale. That's how you make the determination, right?
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong answer here on scalability. Ian, you're correct. Sometimes you do not want to scale. That's what gives your business value.
Right.
David is also correct. Look, man, you have a restaurant. You don't want to spoil the quality that's coming through. I can only get potatoes from a certain place, and I can only get a certain amount of them. Well, guess what? It's better if we do that here, and we do it with one restaurant.
Absolutely. All right. Jumping to the next topic, validation. So this is validation from the market. First way to do it is through an MVP, or a minimal viable product. This is where you create a simple version, not too many features of your product, and you get it out to the market fast, and see what the market tells you. And with that is customer feedback, right? Not just about your MVP, but just about the product in general, everything from how you ship it, market it, the customer support, the actual product, and everything in between. So, um, for Melody Clouds, how did you start out with a focus group, Wayne? I know you said that this is more of a passion project, but how did you know that, man, this can go to more than 100 countries?
Well, number one, I did that by design,
Mhm.
okay? So I knew, because I had, sometimes when you have competitors, you look at those competitors and go, I can beat you. I know that I can do something better than what you're doing, and I can do it cheaper. So why wouldn't people pick me?
Right.
Okay. And that's Melody Clouds. What I did not do was listen to any friends or any family. And I urge anyone within the sound of my voice to take that tack, because they're not the ones that are putting their junk on the line. You need to be the one to make the decision. Now, minimal, the MVP, that is a brilliant idea. And building a smaller version of something, which Melody Clouds is, a smaller version of what was intended, and we are going to grow into what our ultimate butterfly emerging from the cocoon app. Okay. But we have a very solid, very good app that we work with right now. It is for a very good price. And that has been very popular. Seriously, 103 countries we're in right now. And we have been. And the number of people, the percentage of people is less than 1% who leave the app once they've downloaded it. That is unheard of, really, in the industry. I talked to a lot of people doing similar things to me, and they absolutely cannot believe those numbers. They're easy to prove. But look, that's what you want. The customer feedback, that's customer feedback as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? When you can't pry it out of their cold, dead hand, okay, then you know that you've got a product on your hands.
True. David, for you, for communities, when you're launching a new community, do you take the approach of an MVP? Do you invite a few folks first, or how do you approach MVP for your business?
I certainly do, to some extent. Now that we've had Witty, this is our 35th year. We merged our companies last year. So Witty now stands for Workforce Innovation, Trust, and Influence. We have a community as a service platform. So that kind of enables us to find leaders and spin up community for them easily, without a lot of upfront costs that we have to invest in, and they do. And we can, so we don't have as much of a risk. I think definitely figure out what time is money, right? So it's not just cash I'm putting in something. How much time am I going to spend? And weigh all those options. Again, with the internet, you talked about rent earlier, Ian. Sometimes you don't have to have rent. look at what you're building. You know, Wayne introduced us a couple episodes ago to Flippa, right? There you can find businesses that have been created.
Right.
You can probably grab one of those, build on top of it, or tweak it. You may need a database to do X, Y, and Z. Rather than paying a programmer, let's find somebody that's thrown something up there that's done. So, yeah, I think lean and mean is good. Acting quickly is good, but certainly, you know, ask some people that you respect and weigh that.
Absolutely.
Let
Now,
me throw something on top of that real quick. When I brought
Absolutely.
Odyssey to David, the focus group, you talk about focus groups or talk about how I do things. Okay, I knew David for the last 35 years he's witty, okay, which is exactly what I wanted to recreate with Odyssey. So I took it to him, and it made very good sense to partner with someone who was already successful doing what I wanted to do. So I brought it to Dave. I said, "Hey, look, we're going to partner up on this. You show me what I don't know what I don't know. You're going to show me what I don't know, and together you and I are going to build something that is bigger than the both of us." And that's your focus group, right? Go to someone that you know has done this before. Why would you go listen to your cousins and your uncles and your parents who've never done jack squat with their life? They've never owned anything. They've worked for somebody their entire life, and they're very bitter that you've stepped up and you're going to put yourself on the line for a business. That's not who you're going to ask. You're going to go to someone who is actually doing it in the trenches, and they're going to give you a better answer. And even then, why are you listen to what you can learn, but you make the decision. You make the decision on whether or not you're going to move forward with this.
Did you know that music can uplift your mood? Melody Clouds gives you a large selection of binaural beats, solfeggio, guided meditation, and nature sounds. All are designed to elevate and focus your mood. Start enjoying more than 17,000 audiobooks and 300,000 files of rich audio entertainment today. Subscriptions start at $5.99.